the South Sydney Rabbitohs, last week's big shock winners, to take on the Melbourne Storm. I know one Parramatta fan who will be loving to talk about that game at some point. And and they take on the Melbourne Storm, and the Storm have gone through just a couple of changes. So Lumi Loom comes in at on the wing. Sorry, he's stepping in as Marion Seve is unfortunately done for 2020 with an ACL. The forwards, you've got Lewis and Faso Malawi, both coming into the starting lineup. On the bench, it's Hines, Jacks, Vete, and Schoenig for the Storm. As for South, their one change is a pretty big one. Latrell Mitchell's season is also over, so Alex Johnston will be firmly putting himself in the shop window as his South's contract comes to an end by stepping in at fullback. Safe to say that the Rabbitohs don't have the best record against the Storm.
Yeah, it's not pretty. If we go through, we'll go through the last five just for the why nots, and the Bunnies have won one. I'm not going to go back any further than that. I don't think going past that is relevant for what we're looking at. But yeah, and it's not pretty viewing for Souths. 22-8, 26-16, 29-28. South of 30-20, and then a 64-6 spanking at Amy Park in 2017. So not pretty viewing. Obviously, as you mentioned, no Latrell. Huge loss for South Sydney. Alex Johnson, don't get me wrong, great player, fantastic fullback, one of the premier wingers in the competition. I'm not going to lie, really hope he stays at the Bunnies. But if he wants to come to Parramatta, we kind of have a bit of a duck egg on one wing at the moment, and we could definitely use that. But I don't think he's a ball-playing fullback. He's running fullback, and the Storm will know that. And this is a Storm side that loves to jam in, that loves to try and attack the fullback when they're trying to get into the red zone. So I am going with the Storm on this one. I don't believe there are any other changes. I know Cam Smith came up good. Cam Munster was good. Chris Lewis gets the start, which is interesting. Tino's going to lock with Nelson Solomona out of the calf strain. It's good to see Chris Lewis get a start, though. I think he's busted his ass for a long time there in the lower grades. He's got his chance this season, and he's looked good. He looked good in extended time last week. Schoenig on the bench, Jackson. Ooh, that's interesting. Nico Hines and Riley Jacks on the bench. So
they did it last week too. They did it.
Yeah.
The Storm pulled it last week, and we openly said, I don't think that's a great idea. But for whatever reason, that extra mobility and versatility actually were in their favour because they ended up playing Hines. I can't remember where they ended up playing Hines. I think it might have even played him in the centre. They played him in the centre. Right. For whatever reason, it worked. And
Sebe with the ACL, as unfortunate as it is, and we hope that he gets well, that he's able to get back. Him going down meant that Hines would just slot straight into the centre position. Every now and then he'd float around with Chris Lewis. But I think you'll see him as a floating lock this week. When Tino comes off, he'll get a bit of a rest. Nico will go in a 13 position, kind of, very much like a Cam McInnes role at the moment. And then Schoenig, he's a big boy. He is a big boy. Definitely don't want him running at me. Poor Stephen Masters, who I think's had a superb first two games in the NRL. I got to see him play last year against the US for the Cook Islands. Big time player, big time future. Just unfortunate that he's currently behind Dangai Guy and Campbell Graham. I think he'll be back before the end of the season, but that's not what they're here for. They're not here for hype about Stephen Masters, as good as he is. They want the tips. Immediate tip. Storm on the head-to-head. Lumi for a try. I think they're going to absolutely barrel down that wing. That dude is huge. He's got great hands. He's quick. He's agile. There's something about those Fijian wingers. They are insane. You had Radradra, that Parramatta before Sevo. Obviously, Sevo now, granted on a bit of a try-scoring duck. Lumi, only 80 minutes that he's played in the NRL, but he looked well at home last week. Andy's at 230. Give me that every day of the week. So we'll go on Lumi for an anytime try scorer. The line currently is 3.5 on the same game multi. I'm jumping all over that. I'm not going to touch the over-under yet. Oh, actually, 38.5 is the line, so that gives you something to think about. Only 2 of the last 5 games the Storm have gone over. 24-6 against Sydney, 14-0 loss against Parramatta, 30-6 against Manly. South Sydney, they've gone over in their last 3, 4 of their last 5. In fact, if you go back as far as round 10, they've hit 38 twice, and then an 18-12 loss against the Raiders. So that's definitely a cheeky line there from Sportsbet, but I'm just going to go with that. I'm not going to do anything special. I need to get a little bit of credibility up this week. Storm, 3.5 line, Lumi, anytime try scorer, that pays $3.50.
Okay. I like your thought process. I was looking at Lumi and thinking maybe, but you've already tipped him now, so I'm going to change up, and I am going to go with Brenko Lee anytime. Just because I think that he has a tendency to hold the ball sometimes, so I think he may get over. I'm going to go bolder on this one as well. I'm going to go Storm 13+, just because South's last week against Para, that is the first time they've beaten a top 4 team this season. Against top 4 teams, they don't do well. They beat the teams around them. They might edge a win or 2 against a team that's at the bottom of the 8, but they don't do too well against those premier sides that really are going to be there or thereabouts when it comes to finals. So that's my reasoning behind the 13+. So yeah, Brenko Lee and the 13+ for me will do it, because I think there's going to be a bit of juicy value in there.
Brenko Lee by itself is paying $3.75. The Storm 13+ at $3.25. You multi them together on the same gamer, $8.25. It's not bad value there. Not bad value at all there, Matthew. Could I tempt you into saying that's your value of the week?
I'm going to say that that's my value of the week while I know what the number is, because last week I was like, oh, look, here's South Sydney on a -25 over 52 points. That one's going to have some value in it. No, $2.12. So yes, while I know what that number is, that is going to be my value. And we're not going to get ourselves annoyed this week.
You'll be fine. It'll be fine, Matty. It's fine. Okay, don't get grumpy.
Right then, and with that, then we will get on to the next one.